Welcome back to the news at 10. We cross over to Abuja now. Here's Linda Hakigbe. Hey, Linda.
Hello, Ijoma. Now, the problem of delays in the trial of high-profile cases has remained a cause for concern for the judiciary. In search of a solution, the Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory has convened a meeting with lawyers involved in high-profile corruption cases. Justice Ishak Bello says the meeting has become necessary because of public concerns that lawyers are the ones delaying the cases in courts. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor has a report.
Senior lawyers and their juniors in the bar who are handling high-profile corruption cases in the Federal Capital Territory High Courts in the company of judges of the FCT Judiciary, led by the Chief Justice, Justice Ishak Bello. The meeting is convened by the Chief Judge of the FCT. He explains the reason for the meeting.
Yeah, the purpose of it is that we are concerned about the snail speed of trial, particularly on these white-collar crimes, the corruption cases. And there are accusations at the public domain that senior lawyers are responsible for the delay of these cases.
One after the other, the lawyers who have been accused of delaying cases speak their minds.
I don't want to blame the prosecution for all the problems. At times, the executive conduct may be obstructing the progress of a case before the court. I will not mention any case. The court should develop a template whereby if there is such interference, I'm not referring to any case, if there is such interference, you prohibit them from further continuing with the matter. Prohibit. It's done in other jurisdictions.
When the interim order is given, it's as good as almost concluding that the person has committed offense in today's Nigeria. What they do is, they report the account, they pack their goods, pack their cash, and they say they have obtained an initial order. You can go and see. It will take them 3 months from the day they collected the initial order to the day they will prosecute their clients. What do you do? The person is already intimidated. He's ready to negotiate anything with them. What happens?
The truth is, and that is what can only make criminal prosecutions effective, where there is seriousness, devoid of political considerations, to see to the justice of cases.
Having listened to the defense counsels, the Chief Judge of the FCT says another meeting of this nature will be convened with the prosecutors, which will be followed by a joint meeting to ensure quick dispensation of justice. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Now, one of such long-drawn, high-profile cases is a trial of the former publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, which has now been adjourned till Tuesday, January the 23rd. The case being heard at the Federal High Court in Abuja was adjourned after Mr. Metu's counsel informed the court of his decision of his admission at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International University Teaching Hospital for an undisclosed ailment. Mr. Metu is standing trial for allegedly collecting the sum of 400 million naira from the office of the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, in 2014. Meanwhile, the trial of the former Abia State Governor Ojuzo Kalu over an alleged 3.2 billion naira fraud continued today at the Federal High Court in Lagos. A prosecution witness, Mr. Yakubu Braimo, told the court that 6 different checks were issued in favor of a certain New Republic newspaper. Mr. Yakubu Braimo, who is an internal control officer with a commercial bank, told the court that sometime in 2007, the EFCC wrote the bank requesting for documents relating to the accounts of Slock Nigeria Limited, a company said to be owned by Mr. Kalu. Braimo added that GTB Bank forwarded all necessary documents relating to the company to the commission. The witness, while being led in evidence by Mr. Rotimi Jacobs, identified 6 of the documents which he says are drafts issued in favor of New Republic newspaper. However, the prosecution is yet to lead evidence as to what the money was meant for. And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Joma.
Thanks a lot, Linda. And now to what's happening to Nigerians outside our shores. 2 South African police officers have appeared at the Durban Magistrates Court today over the killing of a 27-year-old Nigerian man at the weekend. The victim is said to have been handcuffed, shot and left to bleed to death at the Berea area of the coastal city during a raid which may have been illegal. Our Johannesburg Bureau Chief, Pt.3, reports that the suspects were arrested by the Metro Police some hours later that day.
The 2 suspects appeared briefly in court, one on a charge of murder and the other conspiracy to commit murder. The court was filled with many Nigerians. Backtrack a few nights to the early hours of Friday. 27-year-old Ebuka Okoli and his friend Chibuzofo were watching a football match when disaster struck. He had just moved to Durban 4 months ago.
They shoot him here. The guy handcuffed like this and turn around. Then she run. She want to carry the bullet to run away, but the bullet don't tell him to come outside. He reached for the door here, by the first door. He just put your hand like this and lie down. So blood was thrown everywhere.
The eyewitnesses allege that after being shot down there on this corridor, it was at this point that 27-year-old Ebuka Okoli died. He was handcuffed and shot at point-blank range, and while he was bleeding to death here, the 2 gun-wielding police officers went around the building robbing the residents of some of their possessions. Of course, these accounts are yet to be verified.
They come, they ask me, what do you have in the pocket? What do you have in your pocket? They took the money I have. They took the money I have from my pocket. They searched me, took everything I have. Everything I have in my pocket, they took it.
Immediately the guy fell down, boom. I myself, I jumped up from the shower, I'm sleeping. For me to look, check what is going on, the guy found a gun on my head like this. I said, what happened? I asked him, what do you have there? I said, nothing. What happened? I said, nothing. I said, okay. Oh, yeah, give me everything, what do you have there? I said, okay. I put it in my pocket, bring the money out. Take the money. Ask me, finish? I said, no. Just hands off.
As I opened the case, I met up with a guy. A guy had a gun on his hand. He actually pointed a gun on my head and then asked me what I want, as if like asking me, hey, bitch, what you want here? Then I asked and begged him for my life. I said to him, please don't shoot me. I don't know anything. I'm not going to say anything.
At the end of the day's court session, the Nigerian Minister for Immigration and Consular Matters, Anthony Ogbe, and officials of the Nigerian Union in South Africa asked for calm.
Will not rest until justice is done.
The cooperation of the South African Security Agency gave to us is very, very amazing. It's fantastic in the sense that I have never seen it this way. They really cooperated with us, assisted us even till late in the evening on Friday, even to the arrest of the culprit.
The suspects have been remanded in custody for investigations to continue and identity parades to be held. Their bail hearing comes up on the 29th of January 2018. From the Durban Magistrates Court, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
That's a very sad one there. But there's a positive forecast for growth in the economy, and Wawudu joins us now to tell us more.
You first. First Bank.
You're right, Ijoma. It's more positive growth projections for Nigeria's economy for this year, 2018, as EcoBank Research Group forecasts 2.6% expansion by the end of this year. According to the EcoBank Group report, the key drivers for growth will be higher oil production and prices, exit from recession in the telecom sector, and a stronger manufacturing output for better forex liquidity. But EcoBank Research Group says that it expects political risks to reduce foreign interest in Nigeria's financial markets ahead of the upcoming general elections, while a resumption in militant attacks on oil installations could also impact the country's economic growth. The federal government has established an interministerial committee on harmonization of data collection and evaluation for the country. The Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, disclosed that the committee, which will be charged with the Statistician General of the Federation and the Director General of the National Bureau of Statistics, they will serve as the clearinghouse and focal authority for ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government for data collection, authentication and publication. The Interministerial Committee is also expected to submit half-yearly reports to the Minister of Finance for necessary briefing to the President. Despite commencing the fourth trading week in January with profit taken by investors, Nigeria's stock market recorded a huge turnover of over 4 billion units of shares at the close of trading today. Let's join Chimezie Obiwagu for the details.
Thank you for joining us on Stock Market Report. Investors at the equities market decided to start the fourth trading week in January with profit taking, majorly because of what traders described as uncertainty in market direction after last week's bull run. Much bargain hunting prevailed, but still the bulls were overwhelmed by the bears. As at midday, the market was trading high, up 0.19%, but by the sound of the gong, the index fell in the red zone, down 0.40%. It was quite a lackluster day. 3 out of the 5 major indices dropped, with more profit taking on Tier 2 banks. Despite the drop, the market still looks pretty good, with impressive transaction volume and value. The week has just begun. Traders expect to see a turnaround on Tuesday as earnings season kicks off next week. And that was the Stock Market Report. I'm Chimezie Obiwagu.
Well, as for major world stock markets, they have closed today positive. The U.S. senators reached a deal to resume government operations after a shutdown over the weekend. Let's take a look at the figures for today. That's business news for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Joma.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Anne. Friesland Campina Wamco, makers of peak milk, has unveiled a new power gym at the National Stadium in Lagos to enhance the training sessions of Paralympians. At the unveiling ceremony, the managing director of the company explained that peak support for the athletes is their own way of inspiring greatness in Nigerians.
The Minister for Youths and Sports, Solomon Dalong, led officials from the ministry to witness the total upgrade of the gym and world-class training equipment provided by Friesland Campina Wamco.
On that inspiring note, please.
Nigeria's Paralympians were also present as Peak demonstrated what they described as a show of love for special sports.
They could reach for their peak with very little that they had. So there was an emotional connection when we visited the gym and saw the state it was in. And we believe as Peak, with providing nutrition for Nigerians as our purpose in this country, we believe that this was an opportunity where the purpose that these Paralympians had, that were unstoppable and truly ready to reach for their peak, was in line with our purpose.
Part of what was unveiled were new sets of weightlifting benches, ceiling fans, refurbished floors, lockers, bathrooms and toilets, and also walkways.
Companies developed interest in even individual athletes, and then they invest in their training. So we as government, when we identify talent through our grassroots development program, there should be those who are willing to take up their training and development from that point.
On behalf of the athletes, the head coach, Feisheton Are, thanked Peak for their support.
Peak gave us 1 year of maintenance, and the only good thing that the ministry can do is to hand over the key of the gym to Powerlifting Federation. Since we know we are the only person that know how we got this equipment, then we can be able to manage it well.
Peak is telling a motivational story with the Paralympians. The company has been able to reach out to millions of Nigerians, encouraging them to explore their potentials regardless of whatever limitations they may face.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Hyung Chung becomes first Korean player to reach the quarter-final of the Grand Slam after beating six-time Australian Open champion Novak Djokovic 7-6, 7-5, 7-6 in the fourth round. That's on sports. Please stay with us.